daughters, sisters, and wives. He says they're gonna change our lives. He says be women, be girls. They'll make a better world. Invest in her. Invest in her. Invest in her. Invest in her. And now here's your host, Catherine Gray.
Welcome to this week's episode of Invest in Her. I'm your host, Catherine Gray, the founder of She Angel Investors, and of course, the co-founder of the She Angels Foundation. Both of those are designed to help fund women. And today we have a really exciting discussion. It's about blockchain, this revolutionary new technology that everybody's talking about and not a whole lot of people understand. So our special guest today is the founder of Global Women in Blockchain. Please welcome to the show, Nina Nichols. Hi, Nina. How are you?
Hi, Catherine. I'm great. Thank you. Thanks for having me and thanks for the introduction.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you because women need an entity like you've created, this nonprofit, which, by the way, I just want to mention, She Angels Foundation is so happy to have given a grant to Global Women in Blockchain because we are big believers in what you're doing. And we're going to talk all about what your entity does to help women with this revolutionary new technology that is changing all verticals. I mean, a lot of people associate it with crypto, but we're going to talk about how it affects all types of businesses and how you and your entity, they don't want women to be left behind and how important this is that we're on that bandwagon. So Nina, tell me first a little bit about you. You were telling me you were born in Oklahoma.
Yes, I'm originally from Oklahoma and I am residing back in Oklahoma again now after many, many years of being in Denver for years. I have an office building in Denver and I've enjoyed being in the city, but it's nice to be back home. And there's a lot of very interesting things going on in Oklahoma now and opportunities actually for women and really all people. It's a very interesting time here.
Good to know for our listeners. And I got to say, you look like a very cosmopolitan city girl. So those Oklahomans must be shaking it up there. I bet it's changed a lot since you grew up there.
It has changed a lot. Specifically, the biggest change that I'm seeing, well, a couple, but one of the biggest changes I'm seeing right now is in real estate here, because before real estate, my entire knowledge of real estate here, it's always been sort of flat. It's going up very, very slowly. But now the downtown Oklahoma City is really vibrant, and since they've legalized medical marijuana, just many, many things happening here in the state. And real estate is like San Francisco, it seems almost, where it's on the market and it's gone within a day and the prices are going up. So I've never seen that before. So it's just very interesting to be here and be a part of that and the economy that's really booming in Oklahoma.
That's really good to know. Who knew Oklahoma was going to be hip and happening place to be? And it sounds like, a lot of people are leaving big cities, like you said, like San Francisco, and looking for somewhere new that's more affordable, but boom town. And so I really didn't know this about Oklahoma. So thank you for sharing that with us. Good to know. Everybody's looking for a new adventure. So it sounds like that'd be a good place to check out. So let's talk a little bit about how you got into wanting to create this Global Women in Blockchain. What was the reasoning behind that? And I want to mention that you run a company, you have another company called Resolution Research, and I want to talk about that too. And maybe that was a catalyst to what you're doing, but what made you decide to create Global Women in Blockchain, and that you recognized how important it was for women to be in the game for this revolutionary new technology?
Right. Well, I think, we're calling it the fourth industrial revolution, which I really think it is. And when you think about just the history of business and women in business, the the thing that I guess that really got me was thinking about the internet, because, we saw, if we're, for those of us old enough, we saw a real change happen when the internet boom, and everybody, just did so well and made a lot of money. It was mostly men who were doing that. And so when I started hearing about blockchain and reading about it and learning about it, I kind of read what they call the blockchain Bible, the Blockchain Revolution book by Don Tapscott, up in Toronto. I just thought, wow, the more I learned about it, the more I knew this was going to be a thing, and this is what the world is going to reside on for transactions and really pretty much everything. But when I started like going to a few meetups and different things like that, I would be the only woman, if not maybe there would be one other woman. There was a girlfriend of mine who I would sometimes say, drag along, even hosting at my own offices. And we'd be sitting there, and she said to me one time, she's like, I just feel like, when I ask a question, it's like sort of diminished about how how I'm received or what the answer is. And I was looking at her, and I said, there's no women here. And at the same time, we were working on the Global Blockchain Summit with my associates in Denver. And I was like, you know what? We need to have women. We need to bring women into this space so that we're not left behind, so that we can capitalize on this change, this true pivot in the market. So that's really how it happened. It's like there's no women, so we need to get some in here.
Now, when you say this is the fourth industrial revolution and that blockchain is game changing and women need to be on board, I think a lot of people give a blank stare, and, because they don't understand it. They don't even know the application of it. And so, and I've been reading up on it, trying to learn about it myself, but I love what you're doing because you're creating programs where women are going to be able to learn about it. But let's get into the nitty gritty of it. What is it used for? Like, people just associate it with crypto, but there's so many things it's utilized for. I know retail and travel industry and all these things, but where is it utilized? How is it utilized so that the average listener right now can understand it better, to understand why it's so important?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Well, I think I can give a few examples, one of which is really my favorite. And I always tell it just because it's so simple and I think everybody can relate to it. It's really Walmart doing a test with their food and their food chain supply. So one of the managers in Walmart walked in, grabbed a package of papaya and said to his team, "Tell me where this came from." And so their team traditionally, because, they have to get it from the farm and they take it and they process it and they transfer it out to all their different places and location centers and distribution. So you can imagine what it would be like to find where this papaya came from, what farm, it came from. And when they measured it, it took 6 days, 18 hours, and like 24 minutes for them to find where this originated. So you think about 6 days, that's a week. So you think about there being some sort of outbreak, with salmonella or something that's in the food, and you define where it comes from. Right. So when they implemented blockchain, then what it does is it adds to, like, anytime there's a process, it adds it to the document. So it's kind of like if you can think of a QR code, like if you have a QR code and you put your phone to it, it takes you there right then and there. That's what blockchain does for supply chain. So it will tell you, this is the farm, this is where it's from. And you're starting to see that a lot more too today with just foods in general. A lot of times they'll have a QR code to tell you what organic farm it was grown on, for example. But it just really changes things, because if indeed, let's say there were a salmonella outbreak and it was from papayas only from a specific region that went to 5 states, then instead of the entire US taking papaya off the chart, they could say, well, just from this farm that went to these 5 states and these specific stores. Wow. So that's a real game changer. And you can imagine anything that's done like that, because it's never lost. It's always added to. So
Right. I've heard it could also be used like on a personal level. Like, let's say you own some real estate and you have stocks and you have various investments, but you always have them in different places, and that this could be a way to store everything in one location. Is that true?
Yes. I mean, right now there's not really or I'm not familiar with, but there's not really a real easy to use, personalized. I can put everything in one place and manage it how I wish. But I think that's ultimately where everything will go. I think we'll all each have our own data bank and what it'll be on blockchain. And then we decide who we share it with. So we want to share our medical records. We can share it with the local hospital. We could share it if we're in Europe or Japan or wherever we might be. But we decide what's shared when. And I think the same is true like for market research, which you mentioned. I have a market research company, Resolution Research. And when you think about all the research that's done out there, it's just lost in disparate different places. But if you're the consumer, let's say that the consumer, and I use Crest toothpaste, for example. So
Me too.
if Crest wants to know who's using it and what they're doing, I could just say, okay, Crest, I'll check off that you can have my information, but maybe I get free, whatever, or a compensation for it, but I'm paid
Free floss.
because, yeah. So I'm paid instead of just, them gathering information and knowing everything about me. I choose who can know about me. And so that's really where I think blockchain is going, where it's one's own data bank. And then I think all the institutions, like the banking institutions and medical, really all of them out there, will have everything on the blockchain that can be shared, public, private, and just have different mechanisms that'll be written in a way that it serves the consumer and the
So
business.
it consolidates things. It makes storing information easier, more accessible to you. You can decide who's going to get it, who's not. So it's giving control back to people instead of all of their information being out there. And it organizes people so that they have everything in one place, right?
Well,
Sort
that's
of.
the goal. That's the goal of it.
Yeah.
Right now, it's more in the commercial setting. So it's kind of
Right.
the opposite where businesses have it. Like I work with one company called VXPass, and they have it's like an app on your phone, and you can say enter in where you got your dosage, for example, and then when you need your second dosage. And so then it's on a chain, and then you can or the hospital can show that you've had the shot, or you can show this information to get your second shot or vaccine, for example. But yeah, it's really more so on the commercial side is where it's mostly being used and that consumers take advantage of versus having your own personal blockchain, which, ultimately, I think they will. I think
Yeah,
we will.
I've heard that it will come to that. And really, and we need some sort of technology like this that, like you're saying, you decide who gets your information. It's not just taken, and
Right.
that you have a place to store all your personal things in one location, your real estate, your stocks, your whatever, your insurance policy, that way it doesn't get lost. It's all in one place. I mean, it makes perfect sense. I can't say I can wrap my head around exactly how it's going to work, but I'm getting the concept. And I'm glad that we're just talking about the concept so that people can start to understand it. What about things like the travel industry? Can you tell us maybe how someone like that industry would utilize it?
Sure. Well, I mean, boy, there's many ways, but think you're traveling and your passport. Like there are countries right now that have their passports on the blockchain. So ultimately, I think our passports will go and our driver's license will go on the blockchain. And then when we want to travel, it's like, here's the information, and it's a known secure format. So there's less checking. And so when you go to check in, you could have everything on the blockchain and it just be instantaneous because your data will be, the easiest way to think about it is like it's a QR code for data storage.
Right, right. And
Kind
so,
of.
and that's how crypto started utilizing it, because everybody seems to identify blockchain in conjunction with crypto. I don't know why that is, except for I guess that's how it kind of the discussion started. And so that's all a lot of people, that's the only thing they equate it to. They don't realize it's for all these other verticals and usages, commercial and private. Um, but the crypto, otherwise there was no way to track it, right? Unless there was blockchain.
Well, blockchain is really a very, very secure mechanism. So why it's called blockchains, it's because there's a block build of data on top of the other. And so to build the next block, there has to be, at least if you're thinking about blockchain kind of in the traditional format, to build the next block, you have to have an agreement of everybody who's doing this mathematical computation, that they all receive the same answer. So if you and I and 3 other women were working on solving a computational program, we would say, I've got these 256 characters. What characters do you have? And you have 256, okay, and they're the same as mine. And then if they were off, then it wouldn't write that next piece to the blockchain. It wouldn't add that data because it wouldn't be an agreement. So that's why one reason it's so secure. So let's say that we all agree, we all had the same numbers for the hashtag 256. And so that's added to the blockchain. And then now we want to do solve another problem. And we do that. Well, the reason it's so secure is because people can't go backwards. I can't say, if I wanted to change the last data, I'd have to say, Catherine, those 256 numbers, okay, can you change yours to this? And I'd have to say, hey, and you 3 other people, can you change yours to this? And we'd all have to agree to unwrite it and make it go backwards before the next block was written of agreement.
And that is why everybody needs to take the programs in Global Women in Blockchain so they can better understand this. I know you understand what you just said, and it does make sense, but it is a little bit hard to wrap your head around. The average person, I do believe. If you're a techie person, maybe it's easier, but for the average person, but I think they don't even have to understand really how it works, just the applications of it and how to use that.
Right.
And so globalwomeninblockchain.com that you founded, not only has programs coming that are going to help women learn learn blockchain and its usages and how it's going to affect them and prepare for this revolution, but also you all teach things like cybersecurity and building websites and things like that. Like, tell me all the programs that you have, because every woman should be on Global Women in Blockchain, checking out your amazing programs to make themselves more tech savvy.
Yes. So we do have website development. There's everything, really anything that you can think about that you would want to learn technologically speaking, like standard programs like Cisco or MS Office, MS Server, like you said, web development, cloud server, project management, pretty much anything that you can then think of that's in the technology space. And a lot of the courses now today are preparing you to take different certificates, because there's really where I see, and I do a lot of higher education research, but where I see education going is where it's more specialized, because there are so many specialties anymore and there's a lot of us. So it's an opportunity for women to learn a particular specialty, either for themselves or to pass and get a certificate, and which would help them, get a different position or move up in.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So they can get certified in various programs and areas and help lift up their career.
Yes, absolutely.
That's
wonderful. So it's like, part of it is we want women to have the tools to help themselves, because, we all have our own inner strength, and this is opportunity for us to provide those tools, and then to be there as, an associate and a friend, and a support system for other women. And I've made so many, it's just been amazing. I've made so many close friends, female friends. That's been one of the best benefits of being in Global Women in Blockchain, because I've met so many wonderful business women and, women who are anxious to learn. And like I said, this blockchain affects everybody, and it's going to affect even your utility bill and your cable bill. So it's like, it's everywhere. It's going to be everywhere. That's how things will be
When you
handled.
say it will affect your cable bill and your utility bill, is that in a good way?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So like, you wouldn't be able, for example, to have something added. Theoretically, you wouldn't be able to have somebody like charge a movie to your system because it's locked. It would be locked, and you would have control of that. And or if somebody, if you did buy a movie, then they'd say, here, it's right there. It's written in the code, so to speak. So it's kind of like your data DNA.
Right, right. How interesting. It really is fascinating. And I know it is the wave of the future. So we can't ignore it. We have to learn it. And I'm really grateful for you creating this group. Do you guys still do in person, or are you going to be doing? Do you still have a summit? Tell us about that.
Well, it's not really our particular summit, but a close associate in Denver has the Global Blockchain Summit. And historically, we've participated with them in person and had different groups. We've been a part of all the different conversations about everything from energy to law. But yes, hopefully it'll be coming in person here pretty soon, maybe in October, we're hoping. And if not, we'll definitely have something online. All of our meetups have pretty much been online. But we're starting to see things, turn around and offer more in person. And I think we'll do a combination, from what I've been seeing online today. I think things will be online and also in person. I think there's going to be that combination because, I could speak with you in California and I'm in Oklahoma, and makes that really nice.
Yes, it is nice. And I used to only do my show in the studio, and now I'm really happy to be doing Zoom because, like you said, I get to talk to people outside of Los Angeles. And, it is nice to have both online and in person. I'm a big proponent of in person. And I think it is great when women get together. There's, wonderful synergy, energy, especially with like-minded women getting together. It's like unstoppable. So that we'll look forward to what you all do in person as well. But also look at your online gatherings. I just appreciate what you're doing. Again, She Angels Foundation was so excited to get behind what you're doing as a nonprofit that's helping women to learn global blockchain, and people should check out Global Women in Blockchain and sign up for your programs and support what you're doing to help themselves and to help all women around the world to be on this bandwagon. We want to be leaders in this blockchain boom, right?
Right.
And
we should.
Yes, and we should be. And can we find you guys on social media?
Yes, we're on really every platform. We're on Facebook. You just look for Global Women. It's Global WIB, and the same on Twitter. We also have a group
WIB.
Yes, for
Women
women
in Blockchain.
Yeah,
Love it.
Yeah,
Okay.
for short. And then we're also on LinkedIn. So if you were to search for me, Nina Nichols, or just search Global Women in Blockchain, our group should pull up. But you can always find it for sure at my name on LinkedIn.
Well, thank you so much for this tutorial and insight about blockchain. I want to learn more. I'm going to be taking those classes and just love what you're doing. Really appreciate it. I know it's not easy to run a company and then also run a nonprofit. So I really applaud you for being one of those successful women that's giving back and paying it forward. Thank you for all you're doing.
Well, thank you. And thank you for all you're doing. And, we just so appreciate She Angels and the opportunity that you've given us with your support and the, opportunity to spread the word and spread education and teach blockchain and help other women.
Thank you. Yes, Nina, we're in this for the long haul together.
We are.
So be sure to follow Nina, Global Women in Blockchain. Visit their website, reach out to her, see how you can get involved. Of course, follow us on social media, She Angel Investors and the She Angel Foundation. Please join us. And thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to invest in her and make it a great week. Thanks so much, Nina. Take care.
Thank you. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Our theme music was created and produced by Lindsay Tomasic.